How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder. A little quick episode here. I wanted to talk to you guys about Devin Williams. So the Mets, they signed Devin Williams, who spent the 2025 season with the Yankees. In a trade, the Yankees got him in the last offseason, and he was a free agent. And he signs a 3-year deal with the New York Mets, $45 million. So the Mets add an arm to their bullpen, which kind of needed some revamping because, the trades they made didn't really pan out and the injuries last season. So here's my thoughts on it. I think this is a good move if they get Edwin Díaz back, because Devin Williams, to me, in New York, cannot be a closer. Can't. He struggled mightily last year in the closer's role and blew a ton of games for the Yankees last year. And had he not have done that, the Yankees would have had home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Now, that doesn't mean that the Yankees would have went on to make a deep playoff run because, to be honest, I don't think they would have. I think you still probably lose to the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays would have faced them, and they would have knocked the Yankees out regardless. But that's a separate conversation. But still, the Yankees would have at least had home field advantage. And he struggled. It's just the walks and just the hits. He had command issues. It just, as the closer, just didn't work. But when the Yankees went and they revamped the bullpen, and you had David Bednar step in and be the closer and really take a grip on that, and Devin Williams slid back as more of a middle reliever, it worked. And Devin Williams pitched well, and he pitched well in the postseason. He was one of the Yankees' more reliable relievers in the postseason. So I do think that this can pan out for the Mets. But if they end up losing Edwin Díaz and he ends up signing elsewhere, and Devin Williams is the closer for the Mets, that is going to be a problem. It is. It's going to be a problem. So the Mets need to get some reinforcements. They need to get somebody else, which preferably would be Díaz. That would make the most sense. But you would want it to be... You need to get somebody else. Devin Williams, to me, cannot be the closer. That's just how I feel. That's just how I feel watching him pitch. And to be honest, I kind of wanted him to come back because of how well he pitched. And I knew that had the Yankees retained him, he would not have been the closer. He would have been in a setup role. He would have been the seventh inning guy, or what have you. But I'm not going to go crazy over the fact that he left, because I think the Yankees could take that money that was given to him and maybe go and address it elsewhere. And I do believe that the Yankees will figure it out and fix this bullpen and get it in a better spot than what it was last year, because it was not a strength last year. And usually that is something that is a strength, and it just wasn't. So I like it for the Mets, but there needs to be more moves for them, particularly with the bullpen. So, and obviously they got, some discussions with Pete Alonso. Are they going to bring him back? They made that trade with the Rangers to get Marcus Semien, and they traded Brandon Nimmo. So, the Mets, they're off to an interesting start with their offseason. And also, we could be seeing a casino being built near Citi Field. That's something that Steve Cohen wants. It's a casino project. That whole thing, that whole building, that whole entity will be supposedly done by 2030. So that's going to be huge for that area by Citi Field. But I actually also wanted to talk about this briefly. So I know there was a article that was released in the New York Post about the relationship between Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto, and how they kind of have this chilly relationship, and how Lindor is all about, fashion and all that, and Soto's not in that same kind of, doesn't have that same kind of mindset. He just wants to come and play and whatnot. And I know all Yankee fans were all over Twitter saying, oh yeah, this wouldn't have happened if he stayed with the Yankees. Look, you know what's behind me, okay? As a Yankee fan, stop. Enough. He is not a Yankee anymore. He was a Yankee for one season, and I appreciate him for that one season, and I will always appreciate him for that one season. And I knew that there was going to be a great possibility that he was going to leave. He's not a Yankee anymore. Enough. All right? And and either way, what this article entails, I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't. I don't think it's a big deal. Because you know what? I think if the Mets play this offseason right, and they fix their pitching, and you re-sign Pete Alonso, maybe you get another bat, I think this team's going to be good next year. And this story is going to go, it's going to disappear. It's not going to matter. Because these two guys, if the Mets make it to the postseason and they're a good team, they're going to be at the forefront, getting big hits. Because they're postseason performers. They've had big moments in the postseason. And Soto has a championship. You know, they've played in World Series before. And not everybody has to be friends, all right? You've had teams win in the past. I mean, you hear this all the time. Teams that won in the past, you've had teammates that just dislike, that hate each other. But you know what? When they got to go out there and they got to win a baseball game, they got to win a championship, they do that. They put all that aside. So, I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't. And I think for Yankee fans that like to hop on this and just think, yeah, see that you had it good with the... Enough. Enough already. What are we going to do? Is this how it's going to be for the next 15 years? Now, yeah, I mean, it could be because, you know, he's playing in New York still. But it's just, but enough already. Enough. He's gone. He's not coming back. Focus on what you have right now. Focus on your own team. That's all I'm going to say. It's a non-story. I'm not worried about it. You know, if it impacts the level of play on the field, and the Mets just, you know, they go out next year and they don't have a good year, and then yeah, if it affects what's on the field, that's a problem. But if it's just something that is off the field and it's just two guys that just, they got different interests, all right, they got different mindsets, I wouldn't worry about it. It's a non-story. So that's my thoughts on that. So I just wanted to give you my quick thoughts on the Devin Williams signing and the couple of Mets stuff there. But so a quick podcast here. So as always, everybody, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the video, to the channel. Wherever you get your podcast, you can just look us up. Look us up at Infinite Sports. You'll find us there, and follow us on the social media platforms in the description below. And as always, I'm your host Kenneth Grunfelder signing off. Have a good one. Talk to you guys next time. Take care.